let's just go ahead and jump right in.
Sure.
You have been in the business for how long?
Oh, goodness. I think I'm on my 19th year now.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. And I remember when I first got in the business, I used to indulge a little bit. If it was 1.5 years, I'd always say 2. If it was 2.5, I'd say 3. Now I feel like I want to go backwards because it's been so long.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
But that's a long time, 19 years.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good
Yeah.
for you. That's excellent. And congratulations. You were a top 5 producer for 2013. So that's excellent.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great work.
Thank you.
Especially because I know how much work you do with your training, which we're going to talk about a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You are a very busy lady, so I'm amazed. And the social media things that you do, so I'm amazed at how you're able to spread yourself and do so well.
Thank
so
you.
Let's talk about, one of the things that I think that you do particularly well is your branding. And not only do I see your signs around, because I'm in Pleasanton here, so I get to see your signs around, but I also, I see your brand online. I see your brand offline. I see your ads. I see your top realtor. How did you get to the point when, there's a lot of agents on the call that are probably, top producing all the way down to branding in the business.
Sure.
How did you lay the groundwork for building your brand?
Yeah. I'll chat about that. I feel like I should have started the branding piece earlier in my career, and I'm looking forward to talking more about branding later in the session because I think you'll probably ask me some questions on that. That's not necessarily how I got my start. So when I was brand new, really the big 2 things that I did was open houses and farming. And open houses, I honed my skills on over time because open houses are a complete waste of time if you're really not using that time wisely, if you really don't know how to truly work an open house. So it took me a while to figure out how to truly work an open house and turn the people that are walking in the door into clients, but that's really how I got my start. Networking also was a big deal to me, not necessarily networking my sphere of influence, but networking with other agents. I can't stress how critical that is. And I'm not talking about networking with other agents across the country, although that's extremely valuable as well for referral purposes. I mean networking with agents in your local market.
Agents that you might co-op with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Such a big piece and such a piece that I think is missing out there.
A lot of agents don't give that as much attention. They don't realize how important it can can impact their career.
And I think we'll talk about that a little bit later too, but I do want to stress the importance of networking within the agents in your marketplace.
Okay, so networking with your own agents, open houses, getting ready to, you really knowing how to kill an open house.
Absolutely. Yeah. What a waste of time. Who wants to be on a Saturday or a Sunday hang out on your weekend at an open house if you're not going to effectively do it? And I see it all the time. People just sit around, let people come in. But if you know how to work an open house, what an enormous source of business.
Okay, so let's give us your top 2 to 3 tips on how to really work an open house.
Sure.
That should be done.
Sure. Well, First Alert right now is a tool that we have that is so fantastic. This can be done on an iPad, it can be done on a laptop, and it can be done just paper, and then later you put the information into First Alert. But it's something that we have, and it'll probably be called something different maybe with the new Client Connect.
First Alert?
First Alert. Yeah, it's the best.
So
it's
agents,
so
you all have this on your website.
Absolutely.
With the Client Connect, so that you can capture buyers that come to your website.
Yeah, and I didn't have that when I first started, but what I had was a sign-in sheet, and I blamed it on the seller. Of course, I said the seller has asked for everyone to sign in that comes to the door, and so I got their information.
Kind of making an apology.
Yeah, absolutely, because some people get a little bit weird about it, but when you say it's the seller at the seller's request, I think it changes. But to have their contact information is enormous, and to have their email address, because if you don't have a big sphere of influence, which I hope everyone does, this is the way to build your database. People right now, 100 people coming through open houses, easily 100 people.
Right.
That's 100 email addresses you can add to your database every time you do an open house.
Right.
What a huge tool.
Right.
So that just building rapport with the people as they come in, making them feel comfortable, and being extremely prepared for the open house. Do you know everything about that property? Because those were not my listings when I was brand new. Those were other people's listings, but I did my homework. I figured out, tell me about the house to the listing agent, and then I did my homework around the neighborhood, so I knew, and then also had a list of what else was available out there. So those would be my tips for open houses.
Great.
I could go on and on, but we probably don't have time for that.
Great. Excellent thoughts. All right, good. So let's talk about How much of your success is about doing the daily activities, right? We hear a lot about in real estate about, the people that succeed in this business are the people who are willing to do the work day in, day out, the activities, like you mentioned, the open houses, putting the names. It's not so exciting, not so sexy, but sitting down every week, every day after an open house and putting in all those contacts in your database, making sure that you're cleaning out that database and doing all those activities. So how important is that? And how much focused discipline is required for that?
A lot, I think. I think a piece that's missing in our industry is accountability, because we don't really have a boss. So when you have no accountability, things get in the way. Naturally, I've done it. I mean, I should be doing my prospecting, but something gets in the way. I have to pick up the cleaning or something like that. So when you have accountability, especially if you're accountable to someone else, that is the biggest piece. For me, I run the IPC program, which we'll talk about. There's accountability in that, but that doesn't mean that I'm not accountable to someone. I sit on an accountability call every single week for an hour. So I have a group of people that I make commitments to, and the next week I have to tell them if I made my commitments or not. To me, that's the daily stuff. If you have structure and systems in place of what it takes every day to really be successful at this business, I think that's huge. And to be system-oriented like that. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, gosh, I wonder what I should focus on today. It's a myriad of things really that you should be doing. Is it personal notes? Is it working on your newsletter? Is it door knocking, picking up the phone to call your sphere of influence? What is it? But if none of that gets done, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing. So having accountability or being accountable to someone else or a group, I think, is a really, really big deal. And I absolutely think that's one of the biggest pieces of my success. I've done a lot of training with Kathy Allerton, enormously helpful for me. So join some sort of a group that you are accountable to, figure out what are the daily activities that you need to do, and then commit to those and be accountable.
And don't be afraid of accountability. A lot of us are afraid. A lot of us are afraid of it. You think about, what if I don't do it? It's not about being afraid of not accomplishing it. It's amazing what accountability can do. It's
so true.
If you know you've got a meeting and you've got to have X amount of tasks done, you're going to
get them done.
You're going to get those things done because you don't want to have to face someone that you've made a commitment to. So I think I agree. I mean, it works certainly here with us at headquarters. We are all accountable.
Yes.
To Ed and Keith and Rich. And I think the agents that I know that are in accountability training, it certainly works really, really well for them.
Yeah, I think so. And let me just bring up one point on that. And I think I even lost the point that I was going to bring up. But you made me think of something that I thought was important regarding accountability.
Well, we can come back to it.
Okay.
We'll probably hit you in the next slide.
Okay.
So how long did it take you to build momentum and build the referral and repeat business? Is it something that, takes, is it going to take an agent 10 years, 2 years? I mean, it's probably a little bit different for every agent. But
I would say it depends on that agent, because you can build a momentum very, very quickly if you start with open houses. One of the two activities that I really hit hard when I was brand new was open houses and farming. Open houses, you're constantly building a database because you have all these signups. So essentially your momentum can come quite quickly if you're committed to doing open houses every weekend. Right now, open houses are a little bit more tricky because there's not as many listings on the market. But if you have to ask, you have to get face-to-face with the agents in your office if you don't personally have listings, and ask. I get emails all day long. Can I hold your listings open? It's the people that come personally to me face-to-face and ask. To me, that shows so much. So ask the agents in your office if you can hold listings open. Ask if you can market their listings. But as far as repeat business goes, the second part of your question, that does take a little bit of time, because repeat business obviously is a client that buys a house and then goes and sells it a few years later. So my repeat business probably took a couple years at least. Referral business started coming in definitely within 1 to 2 years, and it could have been a lot faster had I worked that better, but I didn't. I was so young when I started. I had a lot of insecurities. I didn't own a home myself, so I had to struggle with the insecurity piece of that on top of everything else. And I wish I didn't have that piece. I wish I had training. I had zero training when I first started. But I hope that answers the question.
I think you made a really interesting point about I'm impressed by people that come to me in person and ask me if they want to hold my open house open. And so tell me, what is it that you look for in an agent who is going to hold, you've got an important client, you've got, a few different listings, you want to make sure that your listing is going to be taken care of, your client's going to be taken care of. So what do you look for?
Tenacity and professionalism. Tenacity, it's showing me that they have that when they show up face to face. When they come to my office and say, and ask me, is there any open houses that I can hold open for you? That's big. I don't want the email. I don't want the phone call. I want to know who that person is because it's such a direct reflection on me who is holding my houses open, an enormous reflection on me. Then professional is the second piece, equally as important to me. Again, it's a reflection of me. So I want someone that's sharp and professional and comes to me in a very professional manner, outlines what they are going to do in the open house. That's huge. There is an agent in my office by the name of Albert Chan. I think he is one of the best open house agents out there because he gets to the open house 30 minutes early. He texts me, I just want to give you an update. I'm here. I have the signs up. There was this little issue with the home. I've taken care of it. I'm ready to go. Midway through the open house, I get a text. There's been 3 realtor showings and about 20 people through. At the end, a very long detailed text or email telling me every agent that showed it during how many people came through, where they came from. Was it the BHD advertising? Was it a newspaper? Was it social media? Where they came from? That to me is so incredibly professional. That's the kind of agent I want at my open houses. So great tip for the people that want to do open houses for their agents. If you do that for another agent, you will win their heart over, a listing agent's heart over by doing those kinds of things.
Your job is to help make the listing agent look great.
Totally. 100%. And if you do, you have won their hearts. You will be so in with their listings.
Yes. So listen up.
Yeah.
Great way to get to Gina's open houses and other top producers.
Yes, for
houses.
sure. For sure.
Yeah. Good. Great tips. So let's talk about branding for a minute because that is the topic here. Why do you think branding is so important? And branding is a big term, right? We tend to think of branding as a logo, a business card, but a brand truly is the experience that you leave someone with.
Yes.
So once you've had a selling client and you've sold their home, your brand is how they're going to remember you, right? So, how does an agent start? I think you've actually touched on it just now. They're branding to another agent, right?
Yes.
To you
Sure.
is the professionalism, the being on time, the communication, right? Communication skills are so important. Sometimes the real estate agents in our industry are not known for great communication with their buying and selling.
It's so true. It's so true. So I want to touch on one thing that you just said that I don't even need to answer the question, but I will anyway. But you said that was so critical, and it was the piece about experience. It's the experience you have with that agent, and that's what branding is. That is so paramount, is how do people experience you, the other realtor and the clients and the general public? How are they experiencing you? That's brand. People think brand is some fancy way of writing their name or some fancy logo. That is so not brand.
Team photo.
That's, to me, that's not brand. My brand is my name and my reputation, period. It goes no further than my name and my reputation. I don't have fancy logos or sayings or slogans. When I first got in the business, I had half of you will understand what this means, half of you won't. I think a lot of people didn't. But my last name is Piper, and my little logo was "Follow me to your dream home." Cute.
Cute. Yeah, follow me.
But that does nothing for me. That does nothing for me. I was branding a saying, not my name, and it's branding the name and reputation. How do you treat your clients? Online testimonials and reviews is so flipping big today.
And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
It's so big, and yes, we'll talk about that, but that's part of branding. So that's the experience that you're talking about, Kathy, is the client experience with you. That then reflects to online, and but the other agents, what I talked to you about, I get a lot of my offers accepted when I'm in multiple offers, and almost every offer I write these days, I'm up against 5, 10, 15 offers, and most of them I get not necessarily because of price, but because of reputation. I've treated these agents well in the past. They know who I am. They know that I will have a clean, professional, communicative transaction. They know when they try to reach me.
Legitimate offer.
Totally. It's legitimate. They know I have good clients. So they give me the opportunity. Gina, you weren't the highest, but we want to work with you. Can your clients match this price?
And isn't one of the reasons why they want to do this is because it makes them look good too?
Totally.
They don't want a buyer that's going to fall out of contract.
Yeah. They don't want to do both ends of the transaction.
Right.
They want the other agent to do their side, to do their job, and many don't. So that's a big piece. They want to shine. I will make them shine for their client, right? I don't represent the seller. I won't have communication with the seller, but the way that I'll run my transaction, their agent, the seller's agent, the listing agent will shine. And that's huge.
And that's huge.
Totally.
Absolutely. Totally makes sense. So the brand is something that you build up over time, and it starts at the very beginning. You don't have to have a lot of clients to start to build your brand, but the minute you have a client, it does start. So let's talk about, when you first started out, how did you establish your brand? You've talked a little bit about this. I don't know if we need to spend a lot of time on this question because you've kind of answered a lot, which is, really doing a lot of open houses, working on your establishing relationships with other agents. What about your sphere? I mean, did you reach out? Did you have a large sphere? Did you reach out to your sphere? Or did you start a farm?
I didn't reach out to a sphere or even start one when I was in the beginning stages. But that was the biggest no-no. It is absolutely 100% the biggest source of your business as a brand new agent is your sphere of influence. You are trying to teach your sphere of influence how to send you clients. Not necessarily buy and sell, although you want them to buy and sell from you when they are ready. But those people talk about real estate with all their friends, and your job is to teach them to bring you referrals, period. That's your sphere. I didn't start with that, number one, because I was 21. I didn't own a home. My friends certainly were not at the buying
You
home
had a
age.
crisis of confidence.
Yes, crisis of confidence. My sphere wasn't buying homes,
Right.
and the whole family was in real estate,
Well,
right?
So people on buying homes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I didn't start it that way, but I highly, highly encourage people to.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the confidence is very, very important, and ways to get that confidence are, right? I mean, do you recommend that agents, be mentored by more top producing agents?
For sure, for
sure. Because it seems like there's no better way to do that than to mirror, than to, to really understand how a top producing agent does an open house, how they work with other agents, how they work with the transaction, how they deal with hiccups.
Yeah, absolutely.
How they deal with difficult clients. All of that.
And I didn't have that because when I got in, there wasn't that type of training.
Right.
That's what IPC is for.
Right.
You are working with only the top producers in the company to coach you through those kinds of things. So I think that's so important. But talk to top producers for sure.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, you talk about your brand, and I think that, when you're talking about reaching out to your sphere, unfortunately, when I do marketing training, I had a fair amount of agents go, well, I don't have a lot of confidence yet, I don't have a lot of clients yet, I don't really want to go out to should I go to my friends and tell them I'm in real estate?
Sure.
And, I always tell everybody, God, please do not be a secret agent.
Yes.
You are in the real estate business right now. And it doesn't matter that you don't have a large, portfolio of clients right now. The best way to get them is to let everyone know you're in the business.
Yes.
First and foremost, people want to work with people they like and trust.
And trust. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you may not have as much experience as other people, but if they trust you and they feel that you come across as being professional, chances are you're going to get the business.
Yeah.
Right?
And they want to give it to you.
And they want to give it to you. Right. So so when you start out, it's this inverse relationship when you're experienced, right? You've got the money.
Yes.
And when you're inexperienced, you don't have the money. So,
yeah.
We're going to talk about some of the online things actually that are fairly inexpensive, and the company offers a lot of online branding for you at no cost.
Sure.
But what did you do? Did you spend a lot of money in print? Those are the old days when print was really important.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't do much branding when I was brand new. I had no budget. I was very, very broke at the time.
As a lot of people are. They need cost-effective ways to promote themselves.
Definitely. But today, so I'll go back to how to do it today, I think, because if I had to start this over again, I would, of course, do it very different, because 19 years ago, you would never do the same things that you do today. Right. There's so many resources available to you today online, and we'll probably get into that. So if you don't want me to touch on that now, I won't. But the online is the biggest thing. I personally do spend money on branding because I can now. But does an agent have to? Absolutely not. Especially if you're really understand SEO, internet, online presence, that kind of thing. You can spend virtually nothing and build an incredible brand and not spend money. I do both.
Right.
I definitely utilize both aspects.
So if you could just give us some examples of how you've branded yourself offline.
Sure. Okay, so
talk about that.
I think what's sort of unique about my branding offline for me is that I look for avenues to brand that are maybe unusual. For example, we have a local paper called Pleasanton Weekly. Yeah,
sure.
I think every town has something like this.
And by the way, these community papers have taken over readership.
It's so true.
The large publications are
so yesterday.
They're so yesterday. Yeah. The readership is down. So these local publications are the ones that are still getting that readership and viewership of the eyeballs that you want.
Yes, totally. So I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but it's worked well for me. So I think this is right. But most of these local papers have a real estate section. I never advertise in the real estate section. I don't put my listings there. Very, very rarely do I do that. I find a really cool spot in the paper. To me, page 3 on any paper is the best page. Upper right-hand corner, page 3 is by far the best page. But you don't have to do that. You can find another spot, but it's a premium spot. Page 3 is, there's a front cover, that's page 2, an inside front cover, and then literally the first page.
And your eyes always go
that's
right,
page 3.
top right.
As soon as you open the paper, it's the first thing you see. So I advertise in the upper right-hand corner of page 3, and now other agents are doing it. So I share that space with other agents, but I was the first to do it, and I only do it once a month. And I'll bet you didn't even know that, Kathy.
I didn't.
Because I hear so much, oh, I see you in the Pleasanton Weekly every week. I'm not in there every week.
Right.
I am in there once a month. So I'm only paying once a month, and the publication goes out once a week. So it's 4 times a month.
But one of the things that's interesting is that you do it consistently.
Yes.
And that's
absolutely.
probably why they think they're seeing you more often. And this is a mistake that sometimes, is made a lot, where it's like, oh, gosh, I ran a couple of ads and I ran out of money. You know, you're better off waiting until you have some dollars to commit to a consistent plan.
I so agree with that. It's
Don't
huge.
do one ad. Don't do one postcard mailing. Wait until you can put together a plan that says, I'm going to do a 12-month postcard campaign. Or a 6 to 12-month newspaper campaign. Something that is consistent.
Sure.
And then you'll start to get people like Gina said.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the difference between doing it the way I do it and doing it in the real estate section is you're lost in the real estate section, right? There's like 40 agents advertising their listings there. I'm not advertising my listings. I'm branding myself. I'm branding them to go to my website. Then they can see my listings.
Right.
It's not about the listings. It's about me and my phone and my email going off because they recognize who I am. So that's one piece. And then the other thing that's a bit offline would be other unique things like sponsor runs, sponsored local activities. It's not very expensive. There was just a run, Pleasanton something education. The schools did a run this weekend in Pleasanton. I sponsored it. It was $200, and my marketing,
you got your name on the
garbage was everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was getting text messages, Gina, you're not here, but we see all your stuff everywhere. I spent $200 on that, and everyone that went and did that run saw my branding. So, and no other agent was doing that. So I find things like that are unusual. I don't want to be with other agents. I don't want to brand with other agents. I want to brand by myself.
Look for unique opportunities.
Yes. Yeah.
And it may be an event that a local restaurant is having.
Sure.
Anything
like
there
that.
are so many different opportunities.
Absolutely.
So think, like you said, think a little bit differently. So let's talk about how you've branded yourself online, because you have a very strong online as well as offline brand. And one of the things that I'll say about branding is that, it takes anywhere from, 6 to 12 impressions for someone to realize they're even seeing you. They may get a postcard, then they may see your name at the run.
Sure.
Then they may see your sign. Yes. Then they may get a mailer. They may see you on Yelp. And then they go, oh, Gina Piper. Oh, okay, yeah, she's that Pleasanton real estate agent. But you shouldn't be all in one venue, right?
Yes.
Don't do just print. or don't just online.
Yes.
It needs to be, I like to call a 360-degree marketing plan so
Yeah.
that you can really appear in a number of different ways and so that people see you consistently.
Yes. Yeah.
So some of the cool things that you've done offline.
Yes.
I'm
Or
going to show
online,
one.
right?
Online, sorry, online. I'm going to show you one right
Sure.
now, which is like my personal favorite.
Okay.
Gina has this awesome Facebook business page called Living in Pleasanton.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the number over there. How many likes do you
Almost
have?
6,000.
Almost 6,000.
Unheard of for these kind of pages.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So Gina, when did you start this page?
I started it, oh my gosh, probably 3 years ago now.
Okay, so
yeah.
it wasn't 10 years ago, guys.
No.
It was 3 years ago.
Yes.
And the growth happened so fast.
Mm-hmm. It did.
But what's interesting about this, and I won't steal your thunder, but what I think from a third party is that, Gina isn't, look, watch closely, right? Who don't you see on this page? You don't see Gina. You don't see Gina slapping herself on the back, another closing, woohoo, another great listing, another open home. She's not just putting her listings in open homes on this page. She's actually woven herself, is that a word? Woven herself into the fabric of the community.
Ooh, I like that.
And so if you go to her page, Living in Pleasanton, you can see that anytime there's a new restaurant, a new yoga studio, whatever, a parade, whatever, she's kind of covering it.
Yes.
You've almost become like a local journalist.
Yes, definitely. So the point that you made about me not being on the page is really the big point that I want to make. You mentioned that it's a business page. I don't really consider it a business page, Facebook page. I consider it a community page.
Yes.
So it's more
clearly
organic. It's more giving back to the community is how I really looked at it. When I started the page, my whole idea was it's about Pleasanton. It is never going to be about me. It's never going to be about my listings, although very, very occasionally when I have a unique listing, I will put it up because it gets a ton of traffic doing that, but it's very unusual for me to do that.
Right.
This is all about Pleasanton. The fun thing about the page is that I never knew that it would be as big as it was, but I have this little red heart that says, it's not little actually, it's a big red heart that says, I love P-Town. You can see on the thing.
People hold it, don't you?
Yes. Now I get calls. People call and say, can we get a picture with the P-Town sign, the I love P-Town, or can you come to my kids' sporting event? The team wants to have a picture. And so now it's viral. Everybody wants to have a picture with the I love Pleasanton sign.
And so how do they know you? Like, how do they know to pick up the phone and call
If
you?
you go to About, you can see that.
Okay,
and it's interesting because, again, I'm not on here, but people know. I get everywhere I go in town, oh, you're the girl that does Living in Pleasanton. I don't know how they know. It's word of mouth. If they wanted to look, they certainly could go to the About page and they'll see all about me, that I run the page and that sort of thing. But I don't put it out there. It's but it's easy to figure out.
But, folks, this is, whether it's online or offline, what's so great and important about what Gina is doing is that, you could be doing something similar at the school level. You could be, president of the PTA. You could be very, very involved in Rotary.
Yes.
You could be super involved in, putting together the parade for 4th of July in your local community. It doesn't really matter as long as you're out there rubbing shoulders with people in your community.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why, Gina is hyper local. She is all about Pleasanton, everything she does. And she just happens to exude love and passion for her town as well. So it's not like, gee, I'm doing this to build my business.
Yes,
and
it's very sincere.
And I think if you, being involved in community activities is one of the most important things that realtors can do. And go at it with the spirit of, I'm not looking to get a lead, but I'm looking to get involved with people, and I love doing this, whatever it is. So figure out, choose something that you're passionate about and get involved in that, because that's going to come through, and it will result in business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I certainly don't ask for the business on this page, but it brings me business.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about branding it's become very difficult for me to track where my business is coming from, and I actually love this problem. It's good to track where your business is coming from, right? It's good to track so you can say, okay, this avenue is really working for me. This one's not. This is where I should spend my efforts. I can't. It's really hard for me to track now.
So why is that hard for you to track?
Because I get calls that are so random now that are saying, "Hi, Gina, we see your name and face around all the time. We'd like to interview to list our home."
So they don't really know where
they have no idea where they just
or
know
they might
their
have seen you
name.
in multiple places.
Multiple places, for sure, for sure. So I can't say, where exactly did you get my name? I get people that say, "Oh, a friend of a friend," or "We see you around," or "We know you were voted best realtor," or blah, blah, blah. So it's coming from all over the place. It's not trackable, but I'm okay with that.
Right.
Because in the last 2 years, I cannot believe how many people are calling. It's also made me really hone my skills on listing presentations, because I went from heavily listing referral business, past clients, and farming to now very online oriented.
A whole dog and pony.
A whole dog and pony, exactly.
Right.
And before it was like kind of a shoe-in. I could go in and be competing with 3 other agents, but it was my farm. I had so much confidence. I never opened my listing book. I would just say, "Sign here. Why would you list with anyone else? I sell more homes in this area than anyone else." Boom, it was done. Now I'm up against heavy hitters, because they're finding me and 2 or 3 of the top other agents in Pleasanton. So they're interviewing the 3 or 4 top agents in Pleasanton.
Right.
And I wasn't getting the listings.
It's not automatic.
No, it's totally not automatic. They were kicking my butt out there.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool, because it made me go back and go,
sharpen your
I've had
to
totally. So that's been interesting.
So this is a little off track, but what do you do for that? I mean, because I'm sure people on the call are wondering, okay, so what do you do? You're a top producing agent. What do you do for a listing presentation?
So I do have my listing book. You can do it online, your iPad, or any way you want to do it. I have it online, but I never use it. I take a book, my listing book, a little leather binder, and I probably have opened that book 2 times in the last 4 or 5 years. I still never open my book. I go in and find out what's important to them.
Right.
I don't want to go through a whole presentation. I want to find out, what do they want to talk about? Is it about commission?
Talk about yourself.
Yeah. Is it about marketing? Is it about how do you stand apart from the other agents I'm interviewing? What is important to you? Because that's the only thing I'm going to talk about. So that's how I do it. And it works for me sometimes. Sometimes, occasionally it doesn't, because someone goes in with a full-on presentation that's super, super impressive. So you should have that. You should have that to do in the event that they need it. But I feel like they don't want me there for 2 hours. They want to talk about what they want to talk about. Let's get it out.
I think that having the professional presentation gives you, and having practiced it and honed it and knowing your market, gives you the confidence often.
I agree.
Even if you don't open it, you don't, whatnot, you're going to leave something behind.
Sure.
But you don't, at least you have the confidence, and you go in and then you start talking about their wants and needs. And if they want to go through it, you can. But if you don't walk in and you don't have it and you haven't done that groundwork, you don't often have that confidence to really get the listing. So
I agree.
It's interesting to hear you say that you've really stepped up your game there, which makes sense.
I've had to.
But you've got a whole nother sort of funnel of business that you didn't have before.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned, let's see, you mentioned the top producer thing. This is very cool, right? You were voted top realtor in Pleasanton.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Best realtor, not top, but best.
Okay, best. Yeah. But this is like second year in a row, third year in a row?
Yes. So I think second or third,
So, Pleasanton Weekly does this whole, best restaurant, best yoga, best this, best that. Basically, you have to do a campaign, right? So you do a campaign for, how did this come about for you? Because I know that there are certain other agents that don't realize there are opportunities like this out there for them.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously not if you're new and don't have experience.
Sure.
But something to think about down the road, right?
I think so. So this best realtor thing doesn't mean that I've sold more homes in Pleasanton than any other agent. That's important for me to get across to everyone, because I don't. So I'm definitely one of the top agents in Pleasanton, production-wise, but certainly not number 1, probably not 2, 3, or 4 either. So it has nothing to do with how much real estate I sell. It has to do with voters, the readership of Pleasanton Weekly, how they vote. So you can campaign it. A lot of people do. I don't really campaign it that much. The first time I was voted top realtor, I didn't even know.
Right.
So it happened.
So quiet. I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And then even the next year, I remember
Then the next year I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to keep this title. So then I started talking about it and asking people, be sure you vote for me and that sort of thing.
But it's amazing to me because you really don't you don't do a lot of self-promotion.
No.
I've never heard you do that. And yet, it's amazing. I mean, you've gotten this year after year, and there's a good reason for it. And I think moving, I mean, I think what's starting to happen is this, you can see this momentum that Gina's getting because she's had 19 years in the business, but let's face it, a lot of her online momentum has just happened in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that in a minute. Talk about video, right? So how have you used video?
Okay, so this is such a funny video. This is one that I made a while back. But video is really important because SEO loves YouTube. So having videos is so critical.
Yeah. Google loves video
love it.
and they love reviews.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So make videos. Don't make it hard. For me, I do videos without me in the video, and that's probably a good tip. I think there's nothing wrong with having you in the video. I love seeing agents that are actually in the video themselves. The reason why I'm suggesting maybe not is because then you want to perfect the video. Then you do it over and over. Oh, I don't look good, or I made a mistake in what I was saying, blah, 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 blah.
Let's face it, if we had to approve our own videos,
my gosh,
we'd never release anything.
Yeah. So get a program. There's one called Videolicious that you can,
that's a good one.
It's an app on your phone. That's what I use. The last 2 videos, it's no voiceover. It's no face. There's nothing to it. It's just the pictures. It's so simple. You go into Videolicious. You click on the pictures that you want to go. You pick music to it. You're done. You are literally done with the whole video in 3 minutes. You get it it automatically goes to YouTube. So now you're done. You have it on YouTube. Then you put your tag, you put your description in, you put your title in, you put your tag words in, and then you have a link. And then you link that to all your social media sites and your blog site and all. Then you get the link to YouTube out because the video, anyone that clicks on the video goes to YouTube to look at the video, and that's what really brings up the SEO. So that's what I think has helped a lot. And I don't do a ton of videos. I should do way more than I do.
Right.
I don't do a ton because I forget.
Do you do them about your listings?
About my listings, sometimes about the market.
About the market. I've seen you do market. Yeah.
Yep. So sometimes I'll get interviews. Yeah. So sometimes I'll get the marketing pages from Bay East Association, your local association, and I'll watch a video that they did. I'll pick out some points, pick out the slides I want to use that are very specific to my area, and do a quick video on that. It's so
Pop
easy.
it up on your website. Put it on your YouTube channel. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's talk about Yelp. You mentioned a few minutes ago about online reviews and how important they are, and it's really, really true. This is an area that I think a lot of agents, sometimes you say the word Yelp and, ooh, you know, it engenders fear and trembling. So let's talk about how you have leveraged Yelp. Because I was on your Yelp channel. I mean, look at this. You've got 5 stars. You've got a lot of reviews. Did you build this slowly over time?
Okay, I love this question, and it gives me fear and trembling as well. Yelp. I don't love Yelp.
Yeah.
It is a really, really frustrating platform, and it will be for all of us. So, but you have to just embrace it and take off with it. I never started a Yelp profile. So what you're looking at here is a profile. Everyone should start a Yelp profile instead of letting someone start it for you, which is what happened to me.
Oh, okay.
So I had no Yelp, and someone Yelped me negatively. I've never been able to get rid of that negative comment. It was someone I didn't represent. It was someone that was on the other end of the transaction. They were I represented the seller. This person was represented by a buyer's agent, and there was a mistake made by their agent. Their agent must have told them that it was my mistake, and so they were very angry. I supplied all of the material from the closing statement that showed very clearly what they were saying was not true. It was not my mistake. I showed everything. Yelp will not take it off. So my Yelp was started for me by someone that gave me a negative review. Okay, couple quick tips on Yelp. Yelp doesn't want you to ask for reviews. So be careful when you ask for reviews, but do it.
What that means is do not, when you close a transaction, don't blast out from your CRM a question saying to your last top, 12 clients over the last 2 years, saying, go ahead and review me. Don't do that.
Do it slowly. My suggestion is when you want someone to review you, a client to review you, first find out if they're a Yelp user. If they're not a Yelp user, if you're the only review that they write, it's not going to show up. So if you can't scroll down on here because it's not online.
I can't scroll down,
but if you go to my Yelp page and you go all the way to the bottom, it shows like 20 reviews that are not seen. So right now I have way more than 16 reviews, but an additional 17 to 20 reviews are there, but the public can't see them. You have to click on a certain link. And I have tons of fantastic reviews that are not showing up. Number one, I think they would show up if I paid for Yelp, which I do not, because to me it's not organic. I want people to come to me. I think it shows better credibility that I don't pay for an ad. So that's a frustrating part of Yelp. So first ask the client to Yelp, become a Yelp user, maybe review their favorite or least favorite restaurant.
Right.
Yep. Then review you.
Right.
And like you said, Kathy, don't blast it out and say 12 people review me at the same time. So obvious to Yelp. They won't show any of them.
Right.
So ask one this week, one in another week, do one at a time, that kind of thing. But you do have to work it.
And no, it's a build, right?
Yes, it takes time.
So it just like a lot of your online marketing, it takes time. Whether it's your Facebook, your social media, whatever efforts, this isn't going to be something that you do and you're going to reap rewards from in 3 months.
Yes,
but take a look at it over the next, set a goal for yourself over the next year, 12 months. What can I accomplish online review-wise in the next 12 months? And you'd be surprised at how much you can accomplish. And again, don't fret if you get a negative review. I've actually talked to agents that have had negative reviews. For one thing, you can get them. Actually, Herman Chan got one taken off.
Really?
Because it was so negative. It was sort of like someone had a vendetta against him.
Jeez, goodness gracious.
It is odd.
Sure.
But it's sort of like a restaurant. Like I always look and I read a restaurant reviews and I think, that glowing.
They can't all be perfect.
So I take the top one, I take the bottom one, I throw them both out.
Yes.
And I think the truth is usually somewhere in between.
I agree. I don't think it's a bad thing that I have one or two negative reviews.
Right. It makes you more human.
Totally. Yeah. And I think it looks better to the client. I agree.
Yeah, it does.
So there's more than just Yelp. There's a lot of different avenues for
Zillow
reviews. Zillow, Trulia, all those
Trulia,
kind of things. I would work on all of those. Even recommendations on LinkedIn are good.
Yep.
LinkedIn I have not seen it as a huge source of business for me, but can I talk about more online stuff? Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about, online marketing, or specifically social media. You guys always say, oh, Gina, you really know what you're doing with social media. I don't. I am so not the expert, so I want to put that out there. But I do have some tips on social media because I have learned a lot, and I get tips from other places. Facebook, I believe, is not the place to spend your time right now. Facebook is going away. The two big ones are Twitter and Instagram, and that is really tough for me because I'm huge on Facebook. I've had a really good experience with Facebook and referrals, although if you go to my personal Facebook, my profile, you won't see a bunch of real estate on there. I'm not into that. I do not like seeing realtors go listing after listing, or I just closed, I just listed, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's cool.
Boring.
Totally. But the business pages, now that Facebook's gone public, the business pages have changed. You have to spend money to really get your post. To boost your post.
Right.
And I have done that a few times.
Yeah.
Yes, but that costs money. And so I don't know that Facebook is the best avenue anymore, because I think these business pages are going to start to go away because people don't want to boost the post. They don't want to spend that much money to do it. I have a Twitter account. I have an Instagram account. I barely use them, but it is something that I am just starting to really take off with. It's frustrating to me because I know some sorts of social media, but I have to follow where the trend is going, and the trend is
going to Twitter and Instagram.
And it's crazy to me, but that's where it's going. So I think that's really important for everybody to establish those.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. So that wraps up the branding piece of it for Gina. So great information.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing
my pleasure.
that.
Anytime.
We're going to spend now just a couple of minutes talking about IPC.
Cool.
So let's talk, first of all, what is IPC and what is your role and why do agents need to know about it?
Okay, sure. We'll be really quick on this topic because I can't wait to hear about luxury marketing because I think I'll learn some stuff from you. IPC is Initial Productivity Coaching. It is it's a program where new and experienced agents can join. They join for their first 3 transactions since they joined, so 3 transactions after that, and then they graduate from the program. And they can stay on if they want to, but essentially, first of all, you asked me my role. I'm the director of coaching, so I run the IPC program. Specifically, BHD asked me to do this because they wanted credibility. They wanted to have a program that was ran by one of the top 10 agents in the entire company, which I've been for many years now. So that is the biggest piece that separates us from all the other companies, is all the other companies have these coaching and training programs that are ran from people who are not producing. I'm in there doing it every day. I'm going on listing appointments all the time. So I'm in the trenches. I get it, I know it, and I can teach what is relevant in today's market. Our coaches, so I do the training piece, and then we have individual coaches for the different areas. They're top producing agents as well. Those guys are in the trenches, they're doing it, and they can show you how to do it too. So that's the that's the thing that sets us apart from other companies. Right. So there's a training portion of it that lasts 6 weeks on Monday mornings for 3 hours, and then the coaching piece is twice a week. Sometimes they're calls, sometimes they're in person with a group, with your group in your area, and that lasts until the agent closes 3 transactions. One of the other differences is how the pay structure is done. Most companies, training is a profit center for the company. It is not a profit center for us. For example, most companies, you have to pay a monthly fee, or you have to pay this exorbitant amount of money up front to be involved in their training. There is 0 fees up front. There are 0 monthly fees. The only time you pay is when you close a transaction.
So you pay for performance.
You pay for performance. When you close a transaction, there's a 35% referral fee taken off the top of the check. So depending on your split, BHD actually splits some of that with you. So it's just a brilliant program where these new agents, especially the ones that don't have a lot of money, they don't have to spend money. They get hardcore, very intense training and coaching, and our whole goal is to get you into production as quickly as possible. Obviously, this is a difficult business to make it in, and so many people don't make it. Our goal is to get you into production, get you paychecks in your pocket as quickly as possible so that you stick with it, you stay in the business, and you can really take off from there. So that was my really quick vision of IPC.
And I know that you've had a lot of success stories around this.
Yeah.
Agents that have come into the business that had,
Ooh, I have a really good one to share that just happened. Melissa Case, if you're on the line, you'll really appreciate this. Melissa Case is the Grand Lake office manager now, but she was the coach for a long time. When she took over Grand Lake, there was an agent by the name of Saley, just a really, really neat young lady at her office that had been in the business for a year, had been at Grand Lake for a year, hadn't sold a single home. And Melissa went over there to manage, and she saw a lot of potential in this agent and said, I want you into IPC. I want you to get into IPC. In 2 weeks of being in IPC, she had 2 listings in an escrow, 2 weeks of IPC. She had done nothing for an entire year. So we have so many cool success stories. That's the most recent, which is really cool. That just happened. But there's so many cool success stories. It's a neat program, really neat program.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. And if people want more information on it, they can email Gina at
GinaPiper.com.
GinaPiper.com.
Yeah, Gina at GinaPiper.com. Anytime they can email me for that. Sure, certainly.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, now I am going to do a plug for the Expo. We are having our Online Marketing and Social Commerce Expo again on Friday, May 16th.
Yay.
This is something that we have done, I think, the last 4 years, and I think agents love it because we work really hard to get the best speakers on the latest trends, what they should know, whether it's online reviews. I know Gina's going to be on a top producer panel that we've got coming on. We've got speakers from, a speaker from Altos Research who's going to talk about how to cinch the listing using market data. We've got Eric Stegman who's going to come and talk about email marketing strategies on Client Connect. So be sure to put this on your calendar, May 16th.
By the way, let me just plug it as well. I've gone to every one of them that you've put on, and you pretty much do this, right, Kathy?
Well, I've got a great team that helps me.
Well, you do a really terrific job. The Expo is so cool. Every year that I've gone to it, I've gotten so many really neat tips from it. I strongly suggest everyone go. It's the coolest thing that BHD puts on a lot of cool stuff, but I really like this, and I highly suggest everyone go.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So let's dig into to luxury.
Yay!
So it's a big topic. We're going to talk about a few of the elements right now. I put together, kind of some of the top things I think are really the value proposition that our agents really can use. But we're going to really dial into what luxury clients want.
Cool. Can I interview you?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's change roles. I'm so excited. Awesome. I get to be the interviewer. Okay, you already said it, but I'm excited to know what luxury clients want. I mean, I think it's different. I think it's different, the luxury clients, what they expect from the agents, what they want. And I know you get this so much, so I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah, they are, excuse me, they tend to be more exacting, more demanding. They want to know that the agent that is going to work with them can really, really knows the market and can inform them about the market. So you've got to really do your homework. You've got to do your homework with any seller.
Sure.
Certainly more with the high net worth individual. That's how they got there in the first place.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So you can use our market data. You can use market data from a number of different sources, MLS. Be sure that you are really compiling a full market exhaustive study when you go in and meet with these folks. And talk to them about home values and what's going on. They are going to be more sophisticated. They're going to be out there. They're going to understand. They're going to be on Zillow. They're going to be on all these different websites. They're going to probably if they're selling, have a fairly good idea of what their home is going to sell for.
Sure.
But it's your job to be the expert and to come in and disagree with them if necessary and back it up with good information and data.
Be prepared.
Be very prepared.
I love the part you said about global reach. Are you going to touch on that?
I'm going to touch on the global
Okay.
reach, absolutely. And then sophisticated use of electronic media. So first of all, what defines luxury? Typically, the top 10% of the market. And, of course, this varies in every market.
Sure.
So if you're in Sonoma, right, it might be 1.1 million. If you're in Berkeley, it might be 850, 900,000. If you're in San Francisco, 1 million. If you're in, Berkeley, or if you're in, let's say, Pleasanton, it might be, 900? What is
luxury?
Top 10%? Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Top 10%.
Top 10%, I would say.
Over
Probably
1
4 or 5 now. Yeah.
Right, and it has gone up significantly.
Yes, most
25%
certainly
in the last
it
year,
has.
right?
Certainly, yes.
So what was luxury?
900 is average now in Pleasanton.
Yeah,
How sad is that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because luxury really went down 2-3 years ago.
Yes, it did.
So the threshold went way down in a lot of our markets, but now it's come back up. For the purpose of a company-wide standard, we use 900,000 as the standard because of our relationship with luxuryrealestate.com and the fact that all of our listings are automatically fed to that website, which is the #1 website. So that is, it can never be below 750.
Okay.
So if you're in a market, Brentwood, if you're in a market, Central Valley,
Sure.
where top 10% is 400.
Sure.
That is not going to be ever qualify as a distinctive collection. It's got to be minimum of 750. Okay. So what are some of the things that we offer? We talked about, the high-end seller. They want to know that you are doing as much as you can digitally for them, that you are getting the exposure for their listing out, not only through the MLS, but what else are you doing? Are you getting it on global websites, which we'll talk about in a minute? Are you blasting it out to other realtors? What are you doing? So,
I've seen this a lot, so I'm excited about you talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting this email, so tell us what it is, how you do it.
Yeah, so everyone on this call should be getting this new listing preview as well as this new upcoming open homes email. They both go out every week. It's something that exclusive to us, Better Homes and Gardens, and our joint venture partners. It goes out to realtors, okay? So this goes out to every single realtor in your county and neighboring counties as well. So on Tuesdays, the new listing preview goes out, okay? And on Fridays, the upcoming open homes email goes out. Now, just a couple of kind of housekeeping. So I would ask you to make sure that you get your, that you really, really carefully proof your copy that goes in. This is fed from the MLS.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything special.
Okay.
Okay. Once you make sure that you put your descriptions into the MLS, try not to do abbreviations.
Got it.
Don't do all caps. Make sure you're really checking for typos because I can tell you a few times I've gotten this email and there's a big typo right front and center.
Sure.
So make sure that you're really paying extra close attention now that you know these emails are going out.
This is good to know because I abbreviate and I do caps and all that, and it's not going to look good.
And it won't look good.
Yeah.
It just won't look good. So be sure that you don't. And your name is on these emails with your information. And if someone clicks through, by the way, if you see on this photo right here, if they click through the photo, that will take them to the property detail page on your website.
Very nice.
So just make sure that that you're entering everything into the MLS, and that's all you've got to do. It's very, very easy. Okay. So that's it for digital. Now, what about online postcards? Should we be doing these? Well, online or offline, to be honest. I'm a big believer that every listing you get should net you one additional listing.
I agree.
So,
at least.
At least, exactly, at least. So when you do that just listed postcard, that just sold postcard, or that e-blast out for just listed, just sold, which you can find on Greenhouse and very soon on Client Connect, you are letting folks that came to the open house know, or anyone in that neighborhood, that you are an expert in that market, and someone trusted you to sell their home. It is an automatic credibility builder for you. So you've got to make sure to leverage that. Okay. So that's really who those postcards are for. So what about virtual tours? Greenhouse has some of these that are great. It automatically features it to music. You can choose it. You can choose which music you want. You upload the photos. You put captions on. It gives you a link. You can send that link out to your seller. Let you know they've created. You can put it on your website. You can blast it out in emails. Very, very easy to use on Greenhouse. So I recommend that.
And that will be Client Connect as well?
And that will be, for now, the virtual tours are going to be on Greenhouse.
Okay, got it.
Okay. But let's talk about global, because this is really one of the most important things to a seller. And we know in many cases a high-end home may sell to someone around the corner, down the block, or in a neighboring city, right?
Yep.
But our seller and clients want to know that we have global reach. So we are a member of Who's Who in Luxury Real Estate and the luxuryrealestate.com website. And it's the #1 website for properties over $1 million. And if you take a look at this, I love this graph. This is in our luxury listing presentation. LuxuryRealEstate.com has by far a higher volume of listings of $1 million and above than any of our competitors, Luxury Portfolios, Sotheby's, Christie's, or even CV Previews. So this is an important one. You have someone that says, gee, I'm talking to someone with Coldwell Banker. Why should I list with you? This is a great piece to bring out.
Yeah, good piece to have this actual snapshot in your listing presentation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is in there. We also have it as a standalone flyer in the useful documents.
Oh, okay.
Under
Nice.
Distinctive Collection.
Very nice.
It's a whole little section, Distinctive Collection, that you can find. A lot
So
of
how do you get on
materials in.
this?
So you're automatic. Great question.
Oh, okay.
So as a member, as an agent with Better Homes and Gardens, Mason-McDuffie, or Tri-Valley or whatnot, you automatically have your listings of 900,000 and above fed to luxuryrealestate.com.
I didn't know that. So all my listings
All
that
your
have
listings,
had over
yes.
900 goes
Yes.
there. Yay,
They
that's so good to
automatically
know.
go there.
I need to add this page to my listing presentation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Will you email
I'm
this to me?
glad you sent me today.
I know. I'm
Wow.
so excited.
Okay, I sent out a lot of emails about this stuff, Gina.
I know. I'm so busy. It's hard.
I know. That's why I send them out a lot.
Sure.
Because everybody is so busy. But
Yeah.
these are great
That's
things
a
to know about.
very cool tool.
Yeah.
And I do nothing.
You do nothing.
That is so
That's
cool.
it.
Okay,
It's
good.
automatically done for you. Now, here's another cool thing. All of your luxury listings above 900,000 also get fed onto these websites. There is one thing you do have to do, however.
Okay.
LuxuryRealEstate.com is automatic. Your office administrator needs to flag this listing as a luxury listing in the greenhouse. And your office administrators
how to
have
do
been
that.
trained. They
Okay.
know how to do that. So just know the Wall Street Journal is live. Better Homes and Gardens National Distinctive Collection is also live. LuxuryRealEstate.com is live. These other two sites are new and coming on very soon within the next 30 days. Rob Report, which again
that's a
is
good one.
high net worth individuals. Also New York Times. How about that? So it's national distribution for all of your luxury listings.
And so the OA goes to luxury.com, luxuryrealestate.com?
No, the OA goes into the greenhouse.
Flags it.
And they flag it, and they have an admin screen, so they see all of the luxury listings for all the listings, for that matter, in their office. They go to every listing over 900,000, and they click on it. It's a distinctive collection listing, and that feeds it.
And that goes to Wall Street Journal, and then in the next 30 days, both of the other two as well.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly. So touch base. If you have any questions about these, touch base with your office administrator. They are, something that is a great offering. And also, you all should be receiving these invitations that I send out each month. We have these monthly distinctive collection networking events. They're held at a different multi-million-dollar listing. We had the most amazing one, $5 million listing up in St. Helena, England last week. Our next event is going to be May 23rd, and it's going to be in San Jose in the Almaden district, and it's going to be at a $3.5 million listing of one of our agents in our new Silicon Valley office.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's a great opportunity for you to network with agents in other areas to get referrals. It's also a great way to come and talk about wants and needs. We always have an educational component. We have someone talk about how to break into luxury, how to do unusual marketing, things for their listing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the call and you have got a gorgeous listing and you want to host it,
mm-hmm.
let me know, because we move it around to different markets.
Oh,
and,
that is that's good to know.
Yeah, we really want to.
So if I had a high-end listing, we could do this for my listing.
We could do this for your listing.
That is so cool.
And let me tell you, the selling clients love it. Because
I bet they do.
40 to 50 agents at the event.
That is
It's
great.
just BHG. It's much more than a broker open.
Sure, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
And you have a class coming up on luxury, right?
We do have a class. Funny you should ask. This is the last.
I want to know about it because I'm very much considering going. And tell me about the investment that you make and what you get from it.
So it is an investment. It's $525.
Okay.
It's definitely, it's something that you need to, put into your marketing budget. It's a 2-day back-to-back, 8 hours a day, going to be led by an expert in luxury with the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing.
Mm-hmm.
She's flying out from Texas to do this training, and I can tell you that, and I've sent out several emails about this, but there are so many great things that this training gives you. Honestly, not just for luxury, but also gives you tips and best practices for marketing a listing of any value.
Mm-hmm.
But it will help you increase your average sell price. If you're looking to work with more affluent prospects and listing and selling more luxury homes
mm-hmm.
and delivering outstanding service, understanding what is expected by high net worth individuals that you work with,
mm-hmm.
how to speak their language, and really how to grow your business and increase your income. So there's a lot of different sort of benefits that come with this in addition to the 2-day training. You get access to targeted mailing list of affluent people,
mm-hmm.
Which is something I'm always getting asked about. How do I target high net worth individuals? Well, you can do it through Pinpoint on Greenhouse.
Sure.
Or you can also do it through the Institute for Luxury Home Real Estate.
Mm-hmm. And you can do it through Client Connect pretty soon, too.
Do it through Client Connect, exactly. So you get a free standard account in Proxio. If any of you are familiar with Proxio, Proxio is the international MLS. So this alone is worth $99 for the year, right there, just that, as well as the free membership to the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing that's worth $99.
Sure.
So those two things right there, plus all of the great training. If you're thinking about increasing your average sale price and you want to really break into luxury, I highly recommend that you check it out. I've sent out a couple of emails.
Yep.
Look for my emails or ask your manager.
Cool. I've seen them. I think it's really a great training. I think I went to a training that I got a lot out of maybe 2 years ago in Alamo.
We did it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I remember getting a lot of great tips. And they did a panel of luxury agents. I think there was someone from Tahoe that came down. It was very informative.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's all we got for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yay.
And we look forward to seeing you next Monday.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Gina.
My
for
pleasure.
a great,
Anytime.
great discussion.
I so enjoyed it.
All right. Bye-bye.